afternoon, everybody. This is the Board of Equalization on April 8th, 2020. Debbie, would you please call the roll?
Yes, thank you. Mark?
Excused.
Jeff?
Here.
Brandy?
Here.
Jay?
Excused.
Chelsea?
Here.
Taylor?
Here.
Bob?
Excused. Okay. Next item is item 2. It's a report of the valuation process, and I think this is being presented by the Borough's contract assessor, the Appraisal Company of Alaska. So whoever wants to take it, go ahead.
Lila, that'll be you.
Okay. For the 2020 tax year, we conducted inspections on building permits, properties in different stages of construction, and rechecked, again, looking at properties in various stages of construction, and any things that just rechecks on other things that we needed to look at or that Borough staff had asked us to look at. After evaluation of the sales ratio analysis, it found it necessary to increase values by 3% on residential buildings. And we received, I believe, around 30 appeals, and we have settled all but 4 of them.
Okay. Is that all we need to know at this point?
Yes, unless you have any questions.
Are there any questions of Lila? Hearing none, I guess we'll get on to appeals. Item number 3.
Okay, let me ask to have Mr. Cowan unmuted. One moment, please. Okay, so just to review the process that we take here per the agenda, if you have it in front of you, there are steps that are taken. A, there's 3 minutes for the appellant to give their argument or their side of the story. B, the assessor then has 3 minutes. C, the appellant has 3 minutes for rebuttal. D, the assessor has 3 minutes for rebuttal. Then, if there's any questions from the Board of Equalization for either the appellant or the assessor, that should happen then. And then the Board of Equalization makes a decision. And any changes made by the BOE to the assessor's valuations must be based on facts presented during this hearing, and you must be able to provide a reason for the changes. And the appellant bears the burden of proof based on salient facts. So, Mr. Cowan, I think when you're ready, you can go ahead and begin.
Okay, good afternoon to all. So a quick description of this lot I'm appealing. It's an abandoned rock quarry, and it's mostly steep and unusable property. It's 2.5 acres of land, and only 1/2 of an acre is actually usable flat space on this parcel. And the distance to utilities is quite far away. So these are the reasons I'm appealing this. I believe it's unequal, mainly because, for instance, in the same rock quarry, Donald Spurl owns 2 parcels as well, adjoining my parcel. It is currently valued at $13,940 per acre. Same topography, very steep, unusable, difficult access, far from utilities. And I'm currently being assessed through the borough here at $30 per acre. In the same GoldenEye subdivision, many other parcels have quick, easy access to utilities. You know, it's only a $500 hookup fee. Whereas today I had Scott Newman come out and look at the project. He's a power and light attendant there, and it was going to be $20,000 just from him to supply power, and then probably another $15,000 to $20,000 in other contracting. So I believe that this really devalues the property, and it's unequal to other properties which have access to this situation. So, in essence, I believe the assessed value is excessive for this parcel. I would imagine it would be somewhere around $10,000 per acre because of the unusability accurately. So anyways, that's what I have to say about this parcel. Thank you.
Thanks, Andy. So do we have the assessor up next?
Yes, I'm ready when you are.
Go ahead, Lila.
Okay. I did talk with Mr. Callan, and I also reviewed his purchase contract when he purchased the land last year. And we had originally valued all of the lots in the subdivision at $30,000 per acre. And this was prior to any sales occurring. And after reviewing the purchase contract, we were willing to reduce the land value to 90% of its purchase price, which would bring it down to $54,000.
He paid $60,000.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, he did pay $60,000 for the lot. And that's verified in the purchase contract that's included in the contract. I'm sorry, the packet.
So is that it, Lila?
Yes, I'm done. Thanks.
Okay. So I guess, Andy, you're up again.
Yeah, I guess the question I have is, has anybody from the board or has any assessors walked this piece of property and is familiar with it? And I did pay $60,000 for the property. I ended up paying 25% more, or maybe even up to 30% more than the valued property, because I bought it over the counter from the state. So essentially, I jumped the gun on the land sale. I didn't want to compete with anyone, so they want you to spend at least 25% more on the purchase price. So, anyways, I would. That's where I'm at.
So okay. Thanks, Andy. Lila?
Okay. There were 11 lots in the subdivision, and 7 of them have sold. We have been able to collect the sales data on those lots, and we will be reviewing the subdivision for next year once we have time to sit down and look at all the sales prices and figure out how to adjust our value per acre. We'll have more reliable information to go on at that time. But these lots were valued at $30,000 per acre, and that was based on other lots along the highway that are not waterfront lots, but other lots along the highway that had been valued that way.
Thanks, Lila.
Thank you.
Any questions from the Board of Equalization?
Yeah, I have one.
Go ahead, Taylor.
So I have driven by here before, and like you said, it's pretty unusable terrain. And if I'm reading this correctly, you would like to have it the tax, or the value of it taxed at $54,000. But if the other ones are valued at $30,000, why did it go up so much just because he purchased it?
Because his purchase price does set. I mean, that is the value. That sets the market right there.
Okay, so even though it was valued at $30,000. Okay, so his purchasing it has changed the value of that property to $54,000 from $30,000.
Oh no! Sorry, I misunderstood you. The lots were assessed at $30,000 per acre, and we had his lot in the beginning had been valued at $74,400 for the total.
Oh, I gotcha.
And so our offer was suggested, our recommendation was to reduce it to 90% of its purchase price to $54,000.
Okay, I gotcha.
Are there any other questions from the board? So the question I have, Lila, is, if we don't have a good feel for what the properties around Mr. Cowan's are, I guess, assessed at, would it be appropriate to have Mr. Cowan appeal again next year once you've had a chance to look at all the 6 or 7 properties or 11 properties that have sold recently?
Yes. Every property owner has the right to appeal their property.
Okay.
I'm curious about the neighboring property being valued from Borough being valued or assessed at a lower rate. Is that something that maybe I'm not clear if that's verified in the information?
I believe the lot that Mr. Cowan was talking about, it's not part of the subdivision. It's still part of a government lot that has not been surveyed, has not been surveyed.
Okay, thank you.
How are we doing, Debbie?
Well, doing fine. If you guys have no more questions, then I guess the next step is for someone to make a motion for something, to either accept the assessor's valuation or make changes to it.
Okay. So is there a motion to accept the assessor or the assessors, or do you have anything else you'd like to add to the for the board?
To be clear, that's reducing the land value to $54,000, 90% of purchase price. I'd make that motion, if so.
I'll second it.
Okay. So discussion, Lila, what does this do here if we put it at $54,000 for the assessed price?
I'm sorry, what do you mean?
Well, the motion is to, do the $54,000 assessed value.
Then he would be taxed based on $54,000 this year for this lot.
Okay.
Even though he paid $60,000.
Yeah, even though he paid $60,000 for it, he would be taxed based on $54,000.
I think going forward with the assessor's recommendation and then seeing where the fact that there's so little data on the overall subdivision in my mind means I'm tempted to go with the assessor's recommendation for now and reevaluate next year for survey results.
And that matches your motion, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Any other discussion? Debbie, can you please call the roll?
Yes. Brandy?
Yes.
Jeff?
Yes.
Chelsea?
Yes.
Taylor?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Andy.
Thank you so much.
Okay, next up is, I think it's listed as E on our agenda. I think let's look at this again here. Is that right, Debbie? Donald Sproul?
Yes, that is correct. I will have
All
to
right.
unmute
Next
you.
up on the... All right, thank you.
Can everybody hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, I had to switch phones here, so. And forgive me if I repeat some of the things Andy said, because I was cut off during part of that. And it's a similar property we're talking about there. So, you want me to go ahead?
Sure. Yep, now's the time.
Okay. I guess to be shorter, if I know, did everyone there, did you read my little 3-part type up for the surveyor, 1, 2, and 3, my appeal from a week ago?
It is in the packet.
Yeah. It's in the packet. Okay. Okay. So I don't mean to really repeat a lot of that. I guess just to summarize it, these 4 properties, there's 4 particular properties around these old quarries that are very unique, extreme topography, I guess I'd call it. And the bottom line is to compare those to other properties in GoldenEye or other building lots anywhere is kind of extreme, just because they're so vastly different. And then this piece we purchased last year ourselves has some other interesting features as well, like Watery Falls Creek, which is a salmon creek. I believe there's some fairly unusable area just because of that buffer. But when I found out the assessor had not physically walked the property, I couldn't help but question this whole process, because I realized meter 1 coming in at a very, very reduced rate is kind of a nice gesture, but it would be great if people could walk these properties and see what we're talking about. And the purchase price, that's great on paper, but that's really kind of irrelevant. We purchased them for reasons that we purchased them. Myself, it was a privacy green area. Will I use some of the usable area at some point? Maybe, but that would be considered improvements, and obviously would be adjusted accordingly in the future. Power access, the steep topography. We can go on and on about why these lots differ from a regular building lot. Most of the other lots in the GoldenEye are the typical building lot, muskeg, glass timber, easier access, et cetera. I guess that summarizes my opening statement anyway. Thanks.
Thanks, Donald. Lila?
Okay, once again, we valued all these lots at $30,000 per acre. And while myself, I did not walk the lot. We did view these lots from the road. And I'm not sure, but I believe my coworker who had valued these lots had at times been down in that area. So I think he had actually seen the topography of that lot. But yes, we did value the lots at $30,000 per acre, similar to other lots, upland lots along the highway. And we came up with his assessed value came up to $43,500, and then 15% adjustment was made for easements running across the lot, which brought his value to $37,000. And even though, and he paid $53,000 for it, and so we had recommended a reduction to $37,000. So, well, actually, yeah, we recommend that we remain at the $37,000.
Okay, thanks, Lyle. Donald?
Boy, I don't know if I have a whole lot to add. Just, as you can see what I already typed up, I'm comparing to the 5-acre parcel that we purchased 12 years ago and how that was assessed. It also has steep to a few areas, and I thought, it came in high at first, and then I met with the assessor at the time, and we saw what we were up against with the easement that we had in place and how far we were from the highway and how we had to get power not cheaply from the backside from Murray's Road, and he made adjustments accordingly, and I was happy with that. So when we compare acre for acre, we're talking double the price on this new piece. So that's kind of where I'm coming with the numbers. I don't know what else to say. I guess to me, it's hard. I don't like comparing apples to oranges, I guess, and talk about possible value or potential value, but rather, what is it right now? Just raw land and how usable it is. And I think it would be a lot easier to understand if somebody's standing on the property. I don't know if that's possible at this point. I think I've said everything that I've had written down, my main points, so.
Thanks, Donald.
Yeah, that's it. Thanks.
Okay. Lila, anything?
Okay.
853, we're at 37.
Mr. Sproul did pay $53,000 for the property, and we have it assessed at $37,000, less than his purchase price. So far we've collected, there are 11 lots in the subdivision. We have 7 lots that are sold. We will be reviewing this information for next year and making adjustments accordingly. And we would be happy to meet with property owners at that time.
For this year.
Thank you, Lila. Are there any questions from the board?
Yeah, me again. So, just looking at the land detail, and I wish we looked at the other one as well. So the topo is moderate. What would you describe as moderate?
Okay, gently sloping, not terribly steep, but gently sloping with some trees, wooded.
Did that answer your question, Taylor? Okay.
With sloping area, there's also some buildable area, not that it's got some usable area on it.
Okay, so, yeah, because I read that, and I have seen it. It's a rock cliff with some sheer, it's a quarry. So it's got some pretty steep edges in it. Wetlands, it's pretty rocky. The vegetation there, small trees, because there's no soil. So therefore the soil as muskeg organic is probably not too much there. Again, I don't know. I haven't walked it, but I have walked along it and been there before. I just wonder if as he's saying, the assessment isn't completely accurate, because if the subdivision is the area that you are, I mean, obviously it is the area, there are areas in that subdivision that do match this description. But this one doesn't seem to, at least not from what I've seen. Paid 53. Yes, I hear that he paid $53,000. So it's obviously worth more to him than $37,000.
Thanks, Taylor. Any other questions from the board? So is there a motion out there?
I guess I would make a motion to go with the assessor for right now, and that next year they do walk the property and look at it and come out with a viable number.
Is there a second to the $37,000 assessment?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Do we have any way of guaranteeing that assessors walk properties, given that multiple contestants this year are coming from the same division? Do we have a way of guaranteeing that that happens?
You only have our word that we'll go do it, but we will, and we'll call the property owners before we go out there.
Great, thank you.
This is Mike Renfro. I work with Lila.
Thanks, Mike. Any other discussion? Debbie, can you please call the roll?
Yes, thank you. Brandy?
Yes.
Taylor?
Yes.
Chelsea?
Yes.
Jeff?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Debbie, is there any other business here?
There is not, other than a motion to adjourn, please.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I guess that's... All right, thanks. All those in favor say aye.
Second. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Thank you,
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.